You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Experience, Fat Jack's Comic Experience Show. We're doing a lot of underground comics tonight, and we'll be right back after these brief messages, and you don't have to fucking hear me talk anymore. Yes, perfect. I already cursed once. Sorry, Kyle. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fat Jack's Latchkey Manifesto.
Oh, is it started?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I had to go to the bathroom. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Fat Jack's Comicrypt. Al, Brendan, Jason.
We already did that.
Oh, so we're like officially started.
We're ready to go.
Oh, so we're like into it.
You can watch the train wreck.
And you know what's funny? I actually had a whole monologue for the cold opening, and I missed it.
Make another one because it ain't happening.
No, who didn't have one?
It happens. How long did you stare at it before you said something?
It took me a minute to realize. Oh yeah, okay. And then I dropped an F-bomb, and then Kyle cut.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a cold opening if I've ever heard one. Yeah. It got real chilly.
It's so cold it doesn't exist.
All right. So the first thing before we get to the business, I want to at least set up what most of this show is going to be. We've been very fortunate. This past week, we got our hands on a collection that is primarily underground comics, mostly from the 70s, a little bit from the 80s. Now, there's a couple famous ones that we have like 90s reprints, but the price is always indicative of if it's like a 5th or 6th reprint. But more importantly, it's very rare that we have these books, and so I want to take this opportunity to talk about them, show them off, all that kind of stuff. But the one thing we're going to sort of tiptoe around and everything is a lot of these covers and a lot of the books questionable. That's a good way to say it. So if I hold up a book, but yet like my hands over a part of the cover, or if I like kind of hold it up and I hang out back here, know that that is purposeful.
Holding the tears. He's hiding tears.
Yeah,
I'm hiding tears.
I'm hiding all the damages.
It's cut out. I'm telling you, it's cut out.
But we got a bunch of Robert Crumb. There's just a lot of stuff. But more importantly, there is one book that I'm really looking forward to talk about, and that'll probably be the first thing we get to. And we also have, if you're not aware, the first appearance of Mouse, Art Spiegelman's Mouse. Now, I originally thought that all of Mouse was serialized in Raw magazine. I have now found out that the very first chapter of Mouse actually occurred in a underground one-shot, and we have that here tonight. We'll talk about it. Now, those two books that I've just mentioned, they're very expensive. I saw copies of the first appearance of Mouse, like graded copies, like at like an 8.5, selling for $1,000. Now, our copy is, most of our undergrounds are kind of in the very goodish range. And even though when I might say some of the prices, you might be like, wow, Brendan, that sounds like a lot. Trust me, it's not. But at the same time, I don't know what kind of audience we have for this stuff. So I just want to be fair. Obviously, be fair to, Mike, recoup some of his costs and stuff like that, but not try to just give these away as if they're trash, because they are not trash, even though they're a little trashy. But if anything else, it's a good opportunity to talk about something that we don't normally talk about. Most of the time when we're hanging out here, it's mostly superheroes and stuff of that nature. We do have some of that stuff, so don't worry. If there's anything up here that you're curious about, no matter if we're talking about some weird book you have no interest in, you let Al know, and we will prioritize you as we always do. All right? So let's just get this little business out of the way. So we're a claim show, all that kind of stuff. So claim it in the chat. Please be as specific as possible. We also have a giveaway again. So this is Land of the Living Gods, #1, the Aftershock Ambassador exclusive. Now, Kyle, remind me, do we have to do the hashtag claim thing now, or like how do we do it?
Pretty much, it's just whoever, as long as they make a purchase and they're like Kyle keeps track, and then his machine does the rest.
Excellent. So, so if you claim anything tonight, your name will go into the digital Rolodex,
So
the roulette wheel, and
You have to use the word claim.
we do have to use the word claim.
They have to use the word claim. I have to have a
Okay.
word that the algorithm can search for.
Okay,
So-
all right, that's fine. So wait, in all fairness, that could
You should be doing it anyway.
Right, but let's just say someone actually doesn't want to win the book, so they can claim a book, but just don't use the word claim.
So, yeah, I would.
Yep.
I would like that book.
I would like that book.
Right.
Yeah,
I want to
Give me
buy.
the one with the boobs, please.
there you go. And trust me, there's a lot of books up here with boobs, that's for sure.
All of them are sold.
But we're going to be discreet, or at least we're going to do our best.
They can call the phones here 215-963-0788.
Perfect.
We'll get you some.
So again, we're here in Philadelphia, so anyone who has access to our Philly shop, any books that you claim tonight will be on hold under your name. If you are closer to our Oakland, New Jersey shop, obviously we'll send those books over there for you to pick up. If you need us to ship you books, we're going to need to get your contact or shipping information if we don't already. The best way to do that is to email us at fjccshow@gmail.com. And we'll get to that. Invoices go out early in the week. Again, we're still doing the thing. We're trying to maintain our New Year's resolution. Anything that gets claimed tonight, we really need it to be purchased within the next 10 days, or unless there's some extenuating circumstances, we're open to it. We're not monsters, but we will roll it back into the stock and everything like that. Also, for shipping, we're still starting at 7, or do we want to start to think that?
This is the last week for 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna have that worked out by next week. For sure, it's not gonna be a huge hike, but it probably started like 9.
Okay. All right. So for this week only, we're still going to do the the first item or whatever, $7, and then from that point forward, every additional item.
Just a slight adjustment, not to gouge everybody, but there's a few instances where we've lost a little bit of money on shipping. I mean, it's not cheap to ship.
No,
I
it's
bought
not.
something on Amazon last week. I still haven't gotten.
Well,
Shipping's getting weird.
That's why you should
Shipping's
support
getting
local
weird.
small business and
Yeah.
not big gigantic conglomerate.
Yeah, maybe stop shopping at Amazon. Well, don't worry,
Thanks,
because
guys.
we've ordered books to restock going all the way back to November. Guess how many of those books have shown up?
Well,
So
offline.
you know, like in
Oh,
Demolition
okay.
Man, where you had the fast food wars and Taco Bell won. Well, we're now beginning the distribution wars, and it's not going well for the comic book store, that's for sure. But that's a whole other thing. We're not gonna air the dirty laundry. Yeah.
This highway doors shipping is weird.
It's crazy. All right, so I'm pretty sure that so that's all the business, right? Am I forgetting anything? Oh, if anyone wants to follow us on social media, the Instagram page is the best way to do it, at the FJC Paradox. Always appreciate the support.
I didn't want it. It's not my place to, but Mr. Lyman wishes everybody a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. So very nice of him.
Right. I actually, for the first time, I remembered that my sister is a mother, and I should probably
Oh, nice.
give her a hey, happy Mother's Day. You know, it just didn't click to me or something. Like it just. I'm
See,
not the best.
I feel like some people hold to the, if it's not your mother, you don't say, like for Father's Day, I don't wish people a happy Father's Day.
I don't love it.
Well, I've ignored Father's Day for a long time. All right, just so we're clear. Like,
I kind of walked into
yeah. I'm not a fan.
that.
All right. So, so like I said, if no matter what we're talking about, if there's something up here that you're interested in that we're not talking about, and you have a certain, please, we will prioritize. Just let Al know, and he will manage me to stay on topic. So with that said, is there anything?
I'm right out the gate. I'm interested in any Corbin work you have.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm interested and I want to hear about it.
All right, excellent. Now, regrettably, I don't have a lot of like thoughts per se, but
Do you have beautiful Corbin work to show?
I have beautiful work for Corbin to show. In fact, I had a magazine called Bizarre Sex #2, but I haven't had the time to actually price it. And it's a beautiful Corbin piece, but I can't show it because it's the kind of image where if I covered it up, I would cover up the whole book, and I'd just be like, "Look, it's beautiful Corbin," and there's my hand. All right, but starting out with Corbin, we have a book by the name of Anomaly. Now, again, adults only. Fair warning, we're going to be as discreet as possible, but almost all of these underground comics we're talking about are definitely adult and mature. I don't think there's a single underground comic that was all ages. So let's just get that right out the gate. Like I said, we're going to try to be as discreet as possible. We're not going to rub your face in it, but I just, because again, you might not be able to see it. There we go. So now I just noticed that there was, beautiful Corbin breasts. That's all right. So first up here, hold on. Let me get my notes here.
Use the finger. Put the finger back up.
Okay, hold on. All right.
Kyle, get used to
All
blurring.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so Anomaly #4 from 1972. This is a first print, and the best way you're gonna learn what I learned, which is a lot of good ways to tell what print some of these books are their cover prices. And this book, its first print was originally 50 cents, which says right there, 50 cents. Now this is early underground artwork and work by Richard Corbin. Also, he had some assistance by Robert Klein and Jan Strnad. How do you pronounce Strnad? Strnad?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
All right. Anyway, primarily this is mostly Corbin. Corbin does a lot of the work. A lot of it is colored. It is not black and white. And more appropriately, this is Corbin's first foray into adapting other stories, but in a very smutty, drug-infused way. And this has Corbin's Alice in Wonderlust. So it's Richard Corbin doing his version of Alice in Wonderland. So again, you've probably heard us say it. Al and I are big fans of Richard Corbin. I have no idea what Jason thinks, other than he likes to look at breasts. But this is a fine minus copy at $15. I'm going to reiterate this again. I was shocked at what some of the prices were for these books. And again, one of the main reasons was most of these books, low print runs, and they're rare. And again, they weren't made to be.
They're
like Golden Age books. Yeah, cheap.
This isn't the market. They're not supposed to be secondary market.
No. And most of this stuff is not reprinted.
No.
Like I don't know. Is there a Corbin collection where it collects all of his anomaly work?
Nah, it's funny you say that because I had to buy. That was that book that came the other day. It was a Corbin collection that Jan Strnad did on Kickstarter.
Okay.
And I found a bookstore. A Jersey customer was nice enough to hit me to it, and there's this bookstore that sold it.
Nice.
But it was like you can't. There was a Dark Horse collection, but there's nothing that like comprehensive, especially
this early underground work.
This is you buy.
Yeah, because like most of the Corbin stuff that's collected was the stuff he did for heavy metal in like the late 70s and 80s, and then a lot of his work, obviously, for Marvel.
You can get that stuff. I mean, you can even still get like collections of it online fairly cheap, but the underground stuff and like Children of Fire and all the Fanta Gore, like none of that's in print now.
Yeah,
maybe overseas.
Ooh, Fanta Gore. Hold on. Let me. It's not up here.
No.
But let me grab. All right, so there we go. Anomaly #4 from 1972. This is a first print of early underground comics by Richard Corbin, Robert Klein, and Jan Strnad. And it has the Corbin's Alice in Wonderlust.
To Mr. Freeze in the chat, all the prices are firm. If after the show something doesn't move and you're interested and you want to make an offer, you let us know.
Yeah, please. Hey, it was wonderful meeting your family. Thanks for coming out for Free Comic Book Day. Yeah.
What? I was it there for this?
Yeah. So let me just make sure, is there anything inappropriate? No, it's just violence. So violence and gore we can always show, but any kind of human body part. So there we go. Here's some more Richard Corbin. Now this is a very good copy at $8. And this is from 1972. This is Corbin does a front cover and then does a bunch of interior color art inside. But more exciting is Corbin, with the help of Vaughn Bodie, does a jam piece together on the back cover. And then you also have contributions by gentlemen that I've never heard of before, Herb Arnold and Stan Dresser. Have you ever heard of those two? No? Okay. But there's Fanta Gore number 3. This is a first print. You can tell by the 75-cent cover price. There you go. And
Is it a cheap wizard?
no, it's like a weird. You know what? Check it out. All right, hold on. Let's get this out. Oh, it's breast, so I have to be careful.
Oh, that is awesome.
It's cool, right? Yeah. It's Corbin and Vaughn Bodie. Hold on, let me just get
That's
a little.
great cover.
All right, so there you go. There's our jam piece between Corbin and Vaughn Bodie. If you don't know who Vaughn Bodie is, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, literally, the Beastie Boys name check Vaughn Bodie multiple times in Ill Communication. Yeah, Sure Shot. Yeah, like Mike D. Or no, Ad Rock. He name checks Vaughn Bodie and Cheech Wizard a bunch of times. So there you go, Vaughn Bodie and Corbin doing a back cover. All right. You okay there? Are we all right?
He's got like 4 TVs going.
I'm watching your the cover up.
Oh yeah. All right, so there you go. So
Kyle, you know what? Next time, don't do it. Get Kyle to blur it.
Yeah.
Kyle blur.
do we have any other? See, that's the
I know there's probably more.
There's probably more in there.
To everybody local watching, all the undergrounds, we're going through an underground collection now, and it takes a lot of time. But if you're interested or you have something you're looking for, feel free to ask when you come in, or Instagram or email, whatever. We'll think through it. It's just going to take a lot of price.
Absolutely. Hey, Kyle, when is our actual first commercial break?
Like 20 after.
20 after, so we're getting close?
Yep.
Okay,
Like
so then I
3-4 minutes.
All right.
But
so
hey,
I'll-
let's just to make your life easier, as the anatomy approaches J. Scott Campbell level, worry more about it. I don't think that early Richard Corbin stuff would have been a problem.
Okay, hey,
So we have
The larger the anatomy, the larger the risk.
Okay.
You know what's not going to be a problem? The cherry blossoms.
No. You mean the cherry Pop Tarts?
Cherry Pop Tart.
All right.
Cherry blossoms.
Yeah, cherry blossoms. They are Archie Girl. Yeah, which I think is important. All right. So again,
Sounds dirty.
do we tell the story of the infamous gentleman who used to only read Archie comics, and then a ex? Okay, all right. We're not gonna tell that story.
But Mr. Kieran was interested in the funny animals. So do you
I don't want to get into that yet. Just because those are the two I really want to. There's two I really want to talk about, and so let's hold on because we're really close. So let's just run through our smut real fast. So Cherry Pop Tart is not a first print number 1, because if we did have a first print of Cherry Pop Tart number 1, that is like a $200 book. So back in the day, they came up with this. They're like, "Yo, hey, people like Archie comics. You know what would make Archie comics even better? If Archie and Betty and Veronica and everyone had sex together." So they created pretty much Archie porn called Cherry Pop Tart that would later drop the Pop Tart and just be Cherry.
Why did he drop the Pop Tart?
I don't know. There's too much going on. So here we go. First up, we have Cherry Pop Tart number 1. Now, this is the 1988 reprint. You can tell because of the price. This is a very fine copy at $8. And Cherry asks very sweetly, is this a sexist comic book? And a big tool in a rape van says, I don't know, but I know what I like. And so that is the beginning of the quality and tone of what Cherry Pop Tart would be going forward. Next up, We have the Bondage cover of Cherry Pop Tart number 2. Now, this is also part of the 1988 reprints. This is a mid-grade copy at $4.
Now these, if everyone watching, these are underground comics, but these are also extremely explicit.
No, this
Like
is
the Cherry Blossoms are like that, like as graphic as you can get.
yeah, like very hard. Let's just call it hardcore.
That's
Hardcore
that's
ground.
half the joke is that they look like Archie characters.
And yeah,
It's
So Peach Pinocchio did on that.
yes. No, I was going to bring that up.
I'm sorry.
They did a anniversary reprint of Cherry Pop Tart number 1, and Peach Momoko did 2 variant covers for it, and they're actually really pretty. Yeah.
What was it like Kickstarter?
So here is Cherry. So they dropped the Pop Tart after issue 2, and it's Cherry number 3. This is again the 1988 reprint. You see it right there with the cover price. This is a very fine copy at $7. And then we get issue number 8. Now this one doesn't star Cherry. Instead, it stars Cherry's friend, not Veronica, as they do their own version of Wizard of Oz. But at the same time, they refer to it as a special cyberpunk issue, which I don't fully understand. Again, this is part of the 1988 reprint. This is a very fine minus at $5. And then we get to Cherry number 17. Oh, wow, this is exactly like the 60s. Yeah, something like that. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Woodstock 99 because I'm pretty sure young women are being groped while crowd surfing. So peace, love, and understanding, as they say. This is a mid-grade copy at $4. And, okay, wait, you were at Woodstock 99?
What's your well?
Breaking news.
We're gonna take a commercial break.
Yeah, we really need to figure out what's going on over here, you know? All right, so we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to get to 2 big books, okay? So we'll see you on the other side.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code. Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show. Get the inside scoop on everything happening at The Experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Hey, everybody,
Hi.
welcome back. Real quick, I write a lot of notes, and then on the show, I end up not looking at them. And so I miss a bunch of information real fast. So real quick, I just want to follow up those cherries. The Cherry Pop Tart #1 is actually a 5th print. It was when they started putting them back out in 1993. So first print of Cherry was in 1982, second print in 1985, and then you get in the early 90s all these other reprints. The best way to tell the first print of Cherry Pop Tart #1 has 2 stories that have never been reprinted in any other second, third, fourth, whatever print of #1. And one of them is something called the Wholesome Twins. I bet you can pretty much let your dirty mind run away with what that means. But more importantly, this is fun, first appearance of Vampironica.
Really?
Yes, Cherry Pop Tart was the first one to do Veronica as a vampire.
So they had 3 lawsuits they're dealing with right now, right?
Probably. No, it still falls. No, it falls within parody laws. Though I'm glad you said that because once we deal with funny animals, we're going to get into a lot in regards to parody laws and lawsuits. All right, I'm so excited to talk about this book.
So Pop Tart technically isn't a parody lawsuit; it'd be a trademark lawsuit.
Well, did Pop Tarts even exist in 1982?
They could still claim the fact that they copyrighted it, and it wasn't an open.
When were Pop Tarts originally
It's
introduced? Do they go back further than like?
It's like I don't know. It's like a 70s thing.
Right, because it feels like it is, right?
Because Kellogg's
It was probably like a
70s.
strawberry, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing that I forgot to mention about a cherry, and this,
All lawsuit things.
Yeah, how did I forget to mention this? Again, talking about parodies. In issue number 17 is actually quite infamous.
1964.
Wow, damn. Okay, all right. Does anyone want to take a guess why cherry number 17 is infamous? Now, this is a first print, and it originally came out in 1995. There's nothing on the cover that will indicate. I'll give a hint. There is a bunch of famous children's cartoon, movie, and toy characters that all have lots and lots of sex in this issue.
What year?
This is 1995. This is a first print from Kitchen Sink Press.
And the cover is it.
So I'll give a hint.
Is it like a 90s toy though? Like, is it a 90s license or is it like the 80s?
It's both. So I'll give you a hint.
Transformers.
Cherry goes to hang out down in the sewers.
No.
Really?
Yes.
Very cool.
In this issue is the infamous issue where the Ninja Turtles team up
No.
to take on Cherry.
Is April O'Neil in this?
I don't think so.
I don't even want to see it.
More infamously, there is a pinup of Usagi Yojimbo receiving something that is sometimes referred to as a job.
That's too.
Yes,
No.
like
That guy went too far. What's his name? Larry? Whatever the guy.
I don't even remember what the dude who created this
I
was.
can't remember.
Yeah, so this is the infamous issue where the Ninja Turtles make love to Cherry in the sewers, and Usagi. Now, just so we're clear, the Usagi thing is only a pinup. It's not in the actual story.
Is the pinup included in that?
No, the pinup is in it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It's like the Hellboy poster.
Yeah, in fact, here, dude,
I gotta see
you gotta see it, man.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, I apologize. We cannot show it live on air because it is very explicit.
Kyle, can you blur everything so we can show it and just blur the whole screen?
Hey, I really hope nobody's watching this with them.
Oh, yeah.
Steven Tyler's on the back cover.
Who's on the back cover?
Steven Tyler.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they reprint a Steven Tyler interview of all things.
Larry Wells. That's the guy.
Larry Wells. Okay. All right. So yeah, so that was it was a very infamous story. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the Turtles thing is in front and the Usagi pinup is like in the middle. I know, it's insane, isn't it?
Stop. No. It's too far. It's not how I pictured it.
Wow. That is phenomenal.
Hey man, it is what it is. What is it? $5? $4?
That is phenomenal.
It's worth
Like,
it.
there's a whole
$4,
interview.
fine.
$4. Yeah, they reprint this interview and stuff like that. All right. That's good times, guys. Good times. All right. So again, I should probably refer to my notes more often. I sometimes forget things. It's graphic. It's very
This is-
graphic.
this
Adults,
is-
adults
this
only.
is,
Adult only is right.
Actually, no, that's not an issue. But yeah, sure. If somebody does buy it, you gotta be local. You gotta pick it up.
Do you think that? Because are we still? We'll have to worry about that
Yeah,
after
we'll
the
see.
fact.
Let's let it
Yeah.
sell first.
If anything, yeah, of course, no one knows. All right, so next up, we are going to talk about the first of what I think is two of the biggest books that we have here tonight, especially in regards to the historical significance to the comic book medium and art form. What's that? What did you discover?
It's Mark Bodie.
Oh, Mark Bodie, Vaughn Bodie's son.
Does he do the? I guess he does the art.
Maybe he does some of the art.
I think he does the
He does the turtles.
he does the young genetically altered samurai lizards. Oh man, you should. I mean, we can't show that. That's a cool legal defense.
Oh yeah, that is cool. Yeah. Oh wait, I think Cherry is playing the April O'Neil role. I think that's
that first.
that's
May O'Doul.
yeah, Mayo Duel. There you go.
May, April.
May O'Doul.
Oh, it's-
Yeah, no, he absolutely does the lizards.
Okay,
That's awesome.
that's cool because it's sort of like a Cheech Wizard kind of. That's cool,
I might have.
right? Isn't that crazy?
Oh no. Yeah, no, man, bye. I can't have this in my house. It's my childhood. No.
Oh my god! I knew this would be fun. I knew
Yes.
this would be fun.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Kieran.
Oh, Mr. Kieran is claiming the infamous Cherry number 17.
If everybody could hit the thumbs up button for Kyle, that would really help him out.
Yes.
And Mr. Barucci, thank you for emailing me back. I'll get back to you tomorrow.
All right, so let's all calm down for a moment.
All right.
Because now-
that was a bit much.
That was good. That was fun. Because now I want to talk about these next two books. So first up is Funny Animals. All right, now it's a one shot. There's no other Funny Animals from this series ever again. This came out in 1972. Now, this is a very good copy, all right? At some point, somebody put like a price sticker on the cover there, and then they tore it off. But the one thing I want to acknowledge about this is absolutely a first print. In fact, I don't know if this got many other printings. Yes.
Real quick, just so everybody knows, this actually has been claimed.
Oh, this has been
Like,
claimed.
This was claimed in the chat, just so everybody knows, but there's a lot of significance to it. So
Right. I still want to talk about it and show this off. Okay. Primarily, it's a Robert Crumb book. Okay. Obviously, there's a Robert Crumb cover with two cats walking behind a bird woman. If you don't know much about Robert Crumb, you're always going to see women with very large behinds and legs who are very, very, very tall. Real thick. And I don't know, there's supposedly, I think, a term for this. But part of Robert Crumb's sexual fetish was to ride piggyback on these large women. Yes. In fact, in American Splendor, the movie, there's a scene of an actor playing Robert Crumb, and the way he leaves the scene is a large woman walks in, he jumps on her back, and she runs out with him. I don't know.
no, because his.
But it's not all.
He looks thick.
He does look thick with two C's.
There's that documentary about it.
It's brilliant.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
If anybody's interested in the interworkings,
Crumb. He's hey,
local boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His brother, Charlie Crumb,
Yeah.
who seemed to be like an insanely talented, intelligent person who mental illness just killed him. Like he became like an agoraphobic. He never left his bedroom. Like he was very like Robert Crumb always looked like a little weirdo. His brother was like this beautiful dude. Yeah, but and again, like in the documentary, like it's
not, you know, but it's just like
yeah, no, I mean, and if anything else, like Robert Crumb is a very interesting human being.
it's just called
Crumb. It's just called Crumb by Terry Swigoff.
Okay.
Yeah, so good stuff. All right, but see, we talked about a lot of Robert Crumb in regards to this book. So either way, this book would have some value and interest and have significance primarily because of Crumb. But this book's main significance, its main historical significance, its main cultural significance, and its epic place in the pantheon of the comic book history. And that is, this is the book that has the first chapter of Art Spiegelman's Mouse. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with what that is, which blows my mind if you're not, we literally talked about the controversy. Art Spiegelman's parents are Holocaust survivors, not deniers. They survived something that really happened, okay? And Art Spiegelman, oh, shoot, I didn't even know. Oh, it came in the other day?
It was like whatever reason it came.
Oh, here we go, folks. Oh, thank God. Now, this is the complete, because Mouse, it had a first book, and then there was a sequel, Mouse 2. All right. Won a Pulitzer Prize. I think it's the first and only, is it the only comic book to ever win a Pulitzer Prize? I don't know. I mean, obviously, the chat would let us know. But anyway, so Art Spiegelman is like working through, like he grew up hearing all these stories. His I don't know if it was his father or his mother had the brand on their forearm. Yeah, and I think like in one of the Mouse collections they did print that. I don't know if it's been printed since. But anyway, so Art Spiegelman, you know, kind of working through his own stuff and you know the stories that he kind of grew up and the trauma that his parents dealt with and stuff like that. He created the series Mouse. In it, the mice are the Jewish people and the cats are the Nazis. And it is the story of what his parents went through in, I think it was Auschwitz. I think I'm pretty sure they were in Auschwitz. What's that?
What are you talking about? This is all.
Oh, it's all make believe. Oh, yeah.
All right, listen.
Not even in jest.
Yeah, no satire here because again, we live in a time now that people don't understand sarcasm and satire. And again, so let's not even go there.
Yeah.
I got into a fight one time. It doesn't matter.
I heard it.
All right.
You know.
So the very first chapter of Mouse is printed in this issue.
That's not funny.
I know.
It's the thing that the book is funny.
Well, to be very honest with you, Funny Animals was supposed to be a satirical title.
I mean, it would have to be.
Because having read this issue, because once I realized what it was, I had to obviously read it. Let me tell you, things don't end well for these two little jackasses. That's for sure.
It's not that funny.
It's not that funny. But so this book now is insanely significant. I saw graded copies of this selling for like $1,000. And especially after the controversy that has recently occurred, as multiple school districts in Tennessee and in Texas have banned Mouse. Their reasoning is because there's too much nudity in the story.
Well,
Well, that's not why they banned it. You don't need me to say why, but again, if you have a heart, you probably understand what some people are trying to ignore, pretend isn't real. They don't like a certain demographic of people.
Kyle, can we have an offline time where we just talk about bad stuff like this?
Nah, let's not go too far with it. All right, I don't want to belate the point. I don't want to get too on my soapbox or anything of that nature. But again, when I heard this book was banned,
one of our stores here on The Experience is actually the closest comic book store to the school district in Tennessee that removed mouse as their textbook for this topic.
Wow. All right.
I say that all in giant air quotes.
Yeah, yeah. I just can't. That 2022. This is where we're at.
No. It didn't.
Well, let's not be surprised. I mean, we literally watched on TV and the radio our government being attempted to be overthrown.
And we're not allowed to curse.
Yes, and we're not allowed to
I
curse.
can't even talk about it right now.
Well, if I can't see the N word.
All right, so let's not get too far here. So this is a very good copy, primarily because there's some smudging. The pages have some yellowing and stuff like that. But again, I cannot overexpress the historical significance of this comic book. And I've actually never seen it before in person. And in fact, I always thought that Mouse was always in Raw magazine. But that was not the case. The first chapter occurred in this one shot. And then when Art Spiegelman continued the story, he continued it in Raw magazine, which was an 80s underground magazine. But there we go. Now, even this VG copy is still a $40 book, and I still think that's cheap. But again, it's going to go to I think a good place, a place that will appreciate it, and I always appreciate that. So there we go. Funny Animals, the one shot by Robert Crumb, but more significantly, the first chapter and first appearance of Art Spiegelman's Mouse. Because a couple of the mice have boobies.
His name is
Like
Spiegelman.
that's the definition of historical.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's crazy. That's good.
Again, let us reiterate the significance of Mouse to the comic book medium. Mouse was one of those books that it elevated the art form in America. Now, it was an art form that never should have needed to be elevated, but for the longest time, it was always viewed as a juvenile thing, as just for children, things of that nature. It's just a bunch of little boys in spandex beating each other up and stuff.
But even those books,
Those are idiot people. Okay, those are dumb people.
So I like to collect racist comic books too.
I know you do.
Because there's a period of time where these things are very historic.
He's Steve Buscemi in Ghost World. Hey, who collected all of the racist advertising?
Oh my God, you're right.
You are. You're
I
Steve
love
Buscemi's
that-
character
I
from
love
Ghost
that
World.
movie too. Scarlett Johansson, that is a young Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Young Scarlett Johansson. Let's not say much more about it. Yeah.
I have Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, you're Steve Buscemi in Ghost World. Yeah.
Oh God.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. But again, Mouse was a book. Again, it won the Pulitzer Prize, which, I mean, did a comic book ever won it? Definitely never before, and I don't think it's won it since. Oh, we found, right? 92. Wow.
Wormans.
And again, it became a book that was one of the very first graphic novels taught in schools. I mean, not anymore, but no, not anymore in some school districts. But how does anyone look at that and go, "Oh yeah, this is inappropriate"?
Well, it's inappropriate.
It's cool,
but-
isn't it? Like I really got like that, and the next one we're going to talk about got me really excited because again, like one of the fun things that we've been having doing this show, and Mike being able to get his hands on more collections and stuff like that, is it's really opened up a lot of books for us. Like again, like had you ever held an Incredible Hulk 181 before, or an Avengers number 4? No, I never had, and yet we had the opportunity to sell them. And again, I never knew that Funny Animals was a thing, and yet boom, there it was, and I learned so much. And just what an absolute, just awesome.
That fact is amazing.
Yeah. But don't forget, it is an underground comic, and even though some serious stuff is going on, there's also a lot of juvenile, profane,
It's fun.
trashy.
It's funny.
Yeah.
They're having a good time.
They're having a. I'm pretty sure that's Jay Lynch. Yes. So not only is it Robert Crumb and Art Spiegelman, but you also get work by Jay Lynch and Sherry Flanagan, who regrettably is one of the few famous underground female comic artists. There's not a lot, but that's, yes.
We hit the next one. Yeah, you want to do a break real quick?
Oh, yeah, is it break time? Yeah, I want some time to talk about this next book. So I guess, Kyle, if you want to do a break, let's do a break. And then when we get back on the other side, we're going to finally talk about Mickey Mouse meets the Air Pirates. Get ready, folks. We're going to have some fun. All right, cool. See you on the other side.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody, to Fat Jack's Comicrypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I'm your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in a minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Unpause. Oh. Woo. That was a weird break. Good times, good times. All right. Now, let's get to the book when I pulled it out of a box. Yes.
So, just real quick before you even start, the Air Pirates does have a claim in Mr. Benjamin. He'll run through it. If you still want it, when you hear price and everything, let us know.
Okay. All right. So, back in the day, when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I used to go to this, when I didn't shop, Fat Jack's over in Jersey used to be where my parents used to have an office. And when I was young and I'd have to like go to work with them and stuff like that, that's how I was able to discover Fat Jack's when I was very young. And I'll always hold that dear to my heart. Well, you know, I couldn't always go to work with my parents and stuff like that. So I had to search out for other comic book stuff, shops and stuff. And not far from one of the houses I lived at, when I was about like 11 or 12 years old. You'd walk through the woods. They used to call it the Cumby Trail. And like, you know, older kids would jump out and beat you up and steal your money or whatever. But when you would come out the other end, there would be a Cumberland Farms. That's where it got the Cumby Trail term from. And next to it was a dry cleaners. Well, the dry cleaners was run by this dude who in the back room had a comic book shop, a little hole-in-the-wall comic book shop. Now, I don't remember the guy's name. He was a real weird but cool dude, and I give him all the credit in the world. He turned me on to so many interesting stuff and art and movies, and pretty much he was, I hope sometimes I could be
like, I'm you from the future.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. Kind of a thing. Like, expose people to interesting and weird stuff. And he would always tell me just the craziest
One
kind
day
of like
you do YouTube show.
Well, one day he started telling me this story about a very infamous underground comic book that became very famous for the lawsuit that Walt Disney Productions Studios Corporation, whatever, brought down upon these San Francisco underground artists. And it became such an infamous lawsuit that it literally changed parody laws for like the next few decades. There was a very famous New York law professor who flat out said, this case and this guy, like there's a group, but it inevitably became wrapped around this gentleman by the name of Dan O'Neill. This law professor flat out said Dan O'Neill put parody laws back 20, 30 years. Like he killed it. And again, let us acknowledge what Disney had done for decades. So Disney would a lot of times take folklore from like in America. It would a lot of stuff was in public domain, things of that nature, and they would recontextualize it, put it out in a movie or a show, and then they would trademark it. So what happened was Disney began to change public domain laws, pretty much began to just rewrite what it meant to have intellectual property.
The Lion King is not
The Lion King was actually there was a Japanese story.
If you watch The Simpsons, where he says, anyway, go on. It's Simpsons. There's a Simpsons reference to the lawsuit.
Again, there's so many ways that Disney just went out of their way to just screw people. I mean, like, and again, if you're fighting Disney, they have deeper pockets than you do. Even if you are right and justified, you're still going to probably get you're going to be like the guy at the end of the Dave Chappelle concert who tried to stab Dave Chappelle. You are going to be beat down, okay? So there was a collection of underground artists from San Francisco. Their names were Dan O'Neill, Bobby London, Sherry Flanagan, Gary Hallgren, and Ted Richards. And they decided to name themselves the Air Pirates. Now, that was because back in the 30s, the old Mickey Mouse cartoon serials, all of the antagonists and enemies of Mickey Mouse all kind of joined up and became the Air Pirates and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so they decided to call themselves the Air Pirates because they were going to do what they thought was the magnum opus of parody satire. Because, as we know, Air Pirates were a group of cartoonists who created only 2 issues of an underground comic called Air Pirates Funnies in 1971. And this book led to one of the most epic lawsuits ever dropped down on the head of anybody working in the comic book medium. All right. So let's talk about a couple things here. Dan O'Neill specifically, the head of this Air Pirates, viewed Mickey Mouse as pretty much the symbol of American, like, consumerist hypocrisy. How did I put it in my notes? A symbol of conformist hypocrisy in American culture, and therefore the ultimate target for satire. And because, let me just make sure. I got a lot of notes here, so I want to make sure, because I really want to tell this story here, okay? All of the underground artists, so Dan O'Neill, Bobby London, Sherry Flanagan, a lot of their style was based off of sort of the animated cartoons and newspaper strips that they grew up with as children. Specifically, they based off a lot of the art aesthetics off of the artist Floyd Gottfredson's Mickey Mouse news strips from the 30s. Yeah.
That's like when it was like Indiana Jones kind of.
Exactly. In fact, this cover is a very famous. It's an homage to a very famous Mickey Mouse Little Golden Book, one of the original Little Golden Books published in the 1930s. Was Mickey Mouse flying this plane? But there's a difference on this cover. Look what Mickey Mouse is transporting. A bunch of bags of dope.
Bags of dope.
I know.
What?
I know. Also, another thing I want to point out real quick, it's probably hard to see on the screen. So this was obviously supposed to also parody Dell Comics. So up here is a little stamp, and it looks like it's Dell. And in fact, it says Hell. It says a bunch of other stuff, but it's really hard to see.
Hell Publishing.
Oh, Hell Comics. Yeah, it's so instead of Dell, it's Hell. So already we're starting to see slight satirical nods.
Still alive.
Oh wow, really? Still alive?
Yeah,
Good for him.
Daniel.
Okay, good, because he didn't. We'll get to what inevitably happened to Daniel. So the art style in this book is picture perfect aesthetic of the old Mickey Mouse serials, except for one huge difference: lots and lots of sex and drugs. All right. So Dan O'Neill, also some of the other air pirates were like, wow, this is really cool, and I'm really excited to do this. But maybe we should take another step further and maybe change their names. Instead of Mickey, why not it be like Dickie, or instead of Donald, it's Ronald, the Mallard or something like that. Well, Dan O'Neill was like, no, that will ruin the potency of the satire.
No.
So everybody in this book is called by their name: Mickey Mouse, Pluto, all of them. Okay. So already we're now setting ourselves up for some trouble, all right? Even in this book, the Big Bad Wolf and the Three Little Pigs were used to parody and attack Disney's appropriation of European and American folklore, commenting on Disney's activity at the time of taking public domain characters and then trademarking them into oblivion.
No, they didn't.
So this book came out like just guns ablaze, okay? They know what they want to do, and they're attacking one of the biggest fish in the pond, okay? But here's where the problem arises. On October 21st, 1971, Disney sued the Air Pirates and Last Gasp Publishing that published the book.
Poignant name.
Yes, Last Gasp. Yeah.
Like that's.
So, of course, now, in all fairness, Dan O'Neill was not hiding from Disney, because Disney was a terrible place. If you were an animator or an artist, it was a terrible place to work. It's pretty much working for Disney as an artist was the equivalent of working in an Amazon warehouse nowadays. You probably, no breaks. They ran you into the ground. It was just terrible working conditions. They treated you terribly and everything. And so
that's only like Walt Disney animated movies, though.
Yes, yeah, only that.
I think that's only when it was bad.
Yeah, no, Disney's worked out all their problems nowadays.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Now, a lot of these artists, the Air Pirates artists, were friends with a lot of these Disney artists and stuff like that. So Dan O'Neill, being the little rabble-rouser that he was, he made it a point to get in the hands of these Disney employees copies of Mickey Mouse Meets the Air Pirates Funnies, #1. So you better believe Disney was very aware of this book. And they went, oh, hell no. And so they came for him. And when I say they came for them, I mean they destroyed the Air Pirates. Okay? So, not only did they get destroyed throughout the U.S. Court of Appeals of the Ninth Circuit, I mean, like, over and over again, they would get just obliterated in court. And so they went to the highest levels of appellate courts. Okay, the Ninth Circuit Appellate Court is like right before you get to the Supreme Court. Okay, so this is where this little book, this goofy little book with Mickey running around with Pluto and doing drugs and shooting people and having sex with Minnie.
The Ninth Circuit is always really big on copyright law.
Yes,
too.
that.
So
No, that makes sense. Again, this is all part of the.
They have no right on it because they're also in not California.
Right.
So, anyway, go on.
All right, so it is getting so bad at this point that Dan O'Neill he convinces the rest of the Air Pirates to settle out of court. Okay, so the rest of the artists, they get their out and they take it, but Dan O'Neill's like, I'm going down with the ship, and I'm going to fight this.
Last gasp.
Last gasp. There you go. So let me just make sure. All right, so this went on. So this book came out in 1971. This lawsuit and all of the stuff that we're talking about here took place over a decade. You know, I mean, it didn't get sort of resolved until like the early 80s. All right. Now, just for another thing, let me just reiterate. There was not a high publication of this book either. There's not a lot of copies out there, and there's not a lot of copies that exist. There are a couple reprints, but they're like they have like a weird line in them. Some of them are a little bit slightly different colored. This is a first print. Let's just throw that out there right now, okay? And even the second and the third print have a lot of value themselves. All right.
It could be. I mean, 3.
Let's say I think 5 is a good number. It definitely wasn't like the high print run of what underground comics usually were, which would be about 10,000. So let's say somewhere between like 5 to maybe 7,000 copies.
So my thing is, you gotta remember, like, there's gotta be print runners that are like, you know what? We're not touching that. We're not putting my shop. Like,
all that is very valid. And again, you better believe
they may print 5,000,
right?
But at the same time, how many goes to market?
Yeah, and we also know for a fact that Disney went out of their way. They sent like little like PAs and interns to shops to find copies.
And this was also the same time where Disney also had their Walt Disney books shops through.
No. In their mind,
there was still.
Yeah,
Dell Comics was still
again Hell Comics.
There has to be this book has to be rare.
It is. I've never seen it in my entire life until I literally pulled it out of a random box.
Were the second and third prints from Last Gasp, or was it like a counterfeit?
That I'm not too sure of. Yeah, like, and again, I don't even know if there really are. I mean, like, there was definitely a second print because I saw the cover of it, which was so different from this cover. Because at first I was like, "Is this a first print? How do I know? How do I figure it?" I literally spent 3 hours searching for this book because once I started to see what it was valued at, I needed to be very confident in going forward. All right, so Dan O'Neill is dealing with this. He's now the only defendant in this epic lawsuit, where one of the biggest American corporations, or one of the biggest corporations in the world, is coming for this random, probably half-poor San Francisco underground artist. Okay, I imagine a lot of you have never even heard of Dan O'Neill's name before. So the way that Dan O'Neill would raise money for his legal legal defense. And again, this was he was a bit of an instigator too. So let's not like completely relieve him of all of his culpability and some of the consequences that fell upon his head, because the way he raised money for his legal defense was to go to all these comic conventions around the country and sell original art of Disney characters doing very adult things, let's say.
He wasn't so blunt.
No, but he was still spitting in the face.
He was in DeLorean style. He went a little, copyright. You know what? You do copyright, live copyright.
No, you're absolutely right.
Right.
Now, throughout this decade, O'Neill kept losing appeal after appeal, and at the same time, kept defying restraining orders. At this point, this guy has a multitude of restraining orders out against him, and he kept breaking or defying the restraining order by constantly drawing Disney characters and selling them to people. All right. So in 1978, it gets to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court goes, "What the hell is this? Like, we're not dealing with this.
Comic books.
Like, this guy doesn't have a leg to stand on."
This is an abortion.
Yeah. There you go. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. So the Supreme Court just throws the case out, and they go, "It's cut and dry. You effed up, buddy. Like all of your argument." And this is, again, why these legal professors were like, Dan O'Neill did it all wrong. There were so many ways you could have still done this and still fall within the parameters of parody. And Disney wouldn't be able to do anything. I mean, Wally Wood never got sued out of oblivion because of that weird Zane, are you in the chat? But Wally Wood did a very famous poster where it's all the Disney characters, doing adult things.
You can buy that one.
You can, yes, yeah. So there are ways around it. The problem is that Dan O'Neill just kept spitting in the face of them. He was instigating. In a way, I think he really wanted it. He was like,
you gotta respect that.
No, I love it, dude.
That's awesome.
He's like a poor man's Larry Flint.
He went a little too extreme with the.
Well,
it looks more like a Disney thing than it would.
That's fine.
I don't know, man. And then he's just like, no, I'm not backing down.
But now we're going to get to the most infamous incident that Dan O'Neill did, and I got to be honest with you. This is so punk rock, I don't even know what to say. All right, so after the thing blew up at the Supreme Court, so in the early 80s, around 1980, 1981, Dan O'Neill created the MLF, the Mouse Liberation Front. And he created it, so in New York, Philadelphia, and San Diego, the MLF put together an art show. And so it was all of these different underground artists doing their own underground art version of adult interpretations of Disney characters. All right? And some of these images, if anyone can find some of the original art from this art show, it is infamous. Okay? Seeing what some of those Disney princesses were doing is make me, give me the vapors. All right. So at the same time, Dan O'Neill went back to sympathetic Disney employees, and he got on to Walt Disney Studios, the actual studio lot where the offices were, where Walt Disney, who was still alive at this point, was. He had an office, all this kind of stuff. So not only did these employees sneak Dan O'Neill onto the lot, he was dressed up as Mickey Mouse, and he handed out MLF, like this new comic he created, which I don't even really think even exists anymore. It was like the equivalent of like a fanzine. I mean, this thing looks like the greatest printed book in comparison to what he had at that point. But more infamously, he was somehow able, while dressed up as Mickey Mouse, to sneak into Walt Disney's personal office and smoke a joint and leave copies of the book all over the dude's desk. That is cool. All right.
It was definitely a FU kind of thing.
It's
the
unreal.
Everything about the story is he's instigator, and like he pushed it to.
Oh, he pushed
a limit that's copyright may not protect.
I'll say this: he pushed it so much, Disney actually blinked. Disney felt bad because Dan O'Neill was at a point where it got so bad, he officially was about to go to jail. And he was going to go to jail for about 15 to 20 years, okay? But Disney was just like, even Disney looked at this poor bastard and was just like,
do we want to do this? It's pure nightmare.
Yeah, it's like,
he should have done it. He should have got locked up 20. He should still be in jail. That would be the most G thing he could have done.
I know. So Disney settled. Disney was just like, listen, you can't do any of this anymore. Like, we still find, I mean, he got fined. I mean, like, every year it was like $250,000, $300,000, $150,000. And we're talking like mid-70s money here, okay? And so they just reached a point where they were just like, listen, your life's screwed. You don't need to go to jail. So we're going to wash our hands of this. We've destroyed almost every copy we could find of this book. Let's just call it a day. And the funny thing is Dan O'Neill, for the rest of his life, as far as I'm aware, told everybody he won. And yet everybody would look at him and be like, dude, you did not win. He's like, I'm not in jail, am I?
I'm not. Yeah, you got to respect the move. Yeah, he did kind of win.
In fact, I'm starting to think about it. I think it's time to start making a movie of this story. You know, a little Dan O'Neill biopic, a little poking fun. Anyways,
is he still around?
I think they are.
Who?
You know,
who?
I don't know if they're as powerful as they used to be, but I think they're.
But they wouldn't know anything about comic books.
No, they definitely would. All right, so let us reiterate again. This is an extremely rare book. This is a historically significant book, even though that significance is a little infamous. It actually had genuine effects on legal precedent in regards to parody law. Like, this case is openly referred to as the thing that ruined the 80s and 90s for parody and satire, because it gave precedent for a corporation to literally just destroy you if they just don't like what you're doing. So, with that said, this is a very expensive book. Now, we didn't really price it like that because I felt kind of uncomfortable, but in all fairness, at a fine minus, so most of its issues, it's got some foxing on the spines. Now, this is a print defect, but there's a little discoloration right there. The pages are a bit yellowed and stuff like that, but overall, it's complete. Spine looks good. The staples are all nice. So even at a fine minus, I'm still going to ask for $80 because, again, the last copy that sold on eBay sold for $350, and it actually was in worse condition than that copy. But again, we're not here to just make as much as possible. As much as we love to talk about these books, we want you to have these books, but at the same time, fair market value. You know, got to keep the lights on.
Mr. Benjamin, I'm going to assume you still want it now that you heard the price. But if not, let us know. Mr. Kieran seems interested.
That's why she screwed me.
I'll be honest, I'm very interested too. It's a cool book to have.
I'll be honest myself.
Brody was going to bring it out. He's going to hide it.
I was thinking maybe I should mention that I found it. Or what it was.
I found a book.
And I should have just borrowed it.
He's got to check how it looks.
Because in all honesty, this book was like, I've always remembered that story. You know, like, I just, like, something about the story when I heard it when I was like an 11, 12-year-old kid, like, it fascinated me. And, you know, I honestly thought, like, maybe it was an urban myth. Like, yeah, you can wiki it, and so you're like, but, you know, people lie all the time on Wikipedia and everything.
That's good claim, Mr. Benjamin.
But there you go. That is one of probably the most unique books we've ever had on this show.
That is the definition of a big boy book.
No movies in that one.
And with that, hello, Zayden.
Zayden, what's up, buddy?
Who?
But everyone, thank you so much for letting me tell that story. We spent a lot of time selling one book, but I was just so excited to talk about it. Right, exactly. You know, and again, so cool. All right, I'll probably never see it again. So, Mr. Benjamin, every now and again, you know, stop in the shop and just show it to us. But honestly, I really hope you enjoy it. Definitely give it a read. It's in good condition, so don't be scared about opening it or anything like that.
You can sell it to Mr. Kiernan for double profit.
In all honesty, again, we always joke that we're like, especially me, I'm not very good at this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that someone is like,
listen, it's just such a unique. All this stuff is so unique.
Yeah.
It's a very niche market.
It is, and I'm trying to be, because again, like some people are like, why is that book so much money? Like, there's no Batman in it. There's no first appearance of anybody. There's no movie and everything.
I mean, what do you think the print run on Air Pirates is compared to Hulk 181? There's no
a drop in the bucket.
It's not even close. Like to have a book like that.
I wouldn't say print run. I'd say what still exists.
That's
print run 181.
Yeah, sure.
Print run 181 is like 5,000-6,000 copies, but there's probably still 5,000-6,000 copies in the market.
Yeah, but a major corporation didn't send out teenagers to find the book and burn it.
How many Air Pirates are in the market today? Because there's probably
eBay only had 2. Only had 2 over the past 5 years.
Even if you bought it 20 years ago,
it's got to be less.
No, I'd say it's even less than that.
Who knows? I mean, we can all speculate.
I'd say it's even less than that.
I'd say screw you, it's less than that.
I disagree with all of you.
One copy left, Mr. Benjamin.
You know what? I'm gonna look up. You know what? I'm gonna look up CGC copies. Let's see. Hold on.
This is like the end of the Last Crusade, and the guy finally turns to Indy and goes, "You chose wisely." All right.
There's 252 CGC copies out.
Okay, now that there was only a matter of time before, because again,
52.
That is a book. CGC that thing, like get that thing slabbed, hang it on your wall. That's a special book.
Not a big.
No, it is not for CG for books that are slabbed. A couple hundred
for something that's as historically significant.
Hulk 181, damn sight worth 5,000.
Yeah, he just drunkenly threw that number out there.
No, that's hopefully.
All right. The next thing we're going to talk about now, it doesn't come to the level of Mickey Mouse meets the Air Pirates funnies or funny animals or anything of that nature. But there was another book that I stumbled upon that has some personal significance to me. Okay, so if you've never heard of the writer, philosopher, and genius by the name of Robert Anton Wilson, there are very few artists, people in this world who truly influenced me to a point where I go, I stole a bunch of ideas from this guy. I'm not going to deny it. So back in high school, again, same thing with this comic book guy who turned me on to the Air Pirates, who allowed me to buy all of Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman's Miracle Man for $1 each, purely because he was like, this is the best book ever, and you should read it, you dumb little idiot. He's also the guy who turned me on to a book called The Church of the Subgenius with Pope Robert. And from that point, I learned about the Illuminatus trilogy, the Cosmic Trigger, Prometheus Rising. I mean, Robert Anton Wilson is one of the few true heroes I have in my life. And that dude died as a wonderful human being, and no stupid stories come out now, and you find out he was really a monster. And he was just a great, great dude. In fact, I highly recommend the documentary, Maybe Logic. I bet you it's on YouTube. And if you can find any speaking engagements with Robert Anton Wilson, anything of that nature, I highly recommend it. I love the dude. Well, now let me just make sure, do I have any notes to give me a date? No, I don't, so I'm not the best at this. Okay, so this one shot came out back in the late 70s, yes, because the Illuminatus trilogy would have been published by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea in the early and mid-70s, and so there is a review of the Illuminatus trilogy in this book, and it's got a full interview with Robert Anton Wilson. I mean, like an extensive interview. But this one shot it's not one shot, I'm sorry. It is a series called Weird Trips that I think only made it through about 2 or 3 issues. Okay. Now this is issue 2, where you get the Illuminatus interview with Robert Anton Wilson, but also you get a story about Ed Gein. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who Ed Gein is, he is the quote-unquote serial killer, even though that's a little, I don't know, he didn't kill that many people. I mean, yes.
He killed enough.
I mean, he killed a few.
Killed enough.
It's more what he did with his kills, and specifically with his mother, because Ed Gein is the inspiration for not only Psycho, but for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, okay? So whenever you watch Psycho or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you have Ed Gein to thank for that. And yes, Ed Gein made lampshades out of his mother's skin. Ed Gein definitely made furniture out of his mother's bones.
What happened to? Did you hear what Eddie done? It was a
book, right? Yeah.
And Eric Powell did the art for it.
It's cool.
It's gorgeous, and it's very like I don't want to say sympathetic, but it sheds all kinds of light on it.
He was
and, like his life growing up. Like he didn't have it easy for sure.
No, I'm not excusing. He definitely murdered people.
Oh no, yeah, he wasn't like a great person.
But he was a traumatized, tortured, and abused and mentally ill man who grew up in a time where he was probably called a sissy more than people wanted to help him.
Yeah, it was just.
Yeah. Well,
it was a very rural country.
Oh yeah. Wisconsin? Yeah, I think it's Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin really gave us a lot of serial killers. Real fun trivia question. I brought this up before, but I'll say it again. What is the predominant astrological sign for most serial killers?
I'm gonna say it's whatever you got.
They said Wisconsin.
It is. It's Geminis.
Did you say the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, the state of Wisconsin is the 13th astrological
if they
sign.
look up, that's its astronomical sign.
Geminis, yeah. Yeah, most serial killers are Geminis. Anyway, so this Weird Trips has a comic adaptation of Ed Gein in his life. That is Ed Gein right there, eating with a bone spoon, eating maybe another human being. But more interestingly, and I didn't know this until I was looking through the book, there are actual reproductions of court photographs from Ed Gein's court case that have, as far as I'm aware, have never been republished before. There are photos in here I've never seen before in my entire life. I've read a lot of like serial killer books and stuff, and Ed Gein is a big part of that and everything. I've never seen these photos. Like there's one photo in here where Ed Gein looks like David Lynch's mentally ill older brother. He's got this like weird, like his hair's just popped up. It's all white. And he's sitting at his like court desk, like at the desk. And he's just like that. He's just kind of like staring off. And there's all these people and reporters just surrounding him, just shoving microphones in his face and tapping him on the shoulder, trying to get his attention. It's the weirdest photo. And Ed Gein looks like he's out of his mind. It's so funny. Well, the thing I didn't know is this book is actually really rare. There wasn't a lot of publications of it. It became a bit of a famous book, obviously because of the Ed Gein stuff, but also because of Robert Anton Wilson's participation in the issue. So this is a first print. Now, this is a very fine copy. It's actually one of the better condition underground books that we have tonight. And I marked it at $30, but I saw this book going for like $100 in most places. But again, it's like one of those weird things where I'm like, anyone buy it for $100? Exactly. And more than anything, and again, I know Mike would be totally cool with this. We make a little bit of money. We don't have to make all the money, but more importantly is anyone who truly wants this stuff, you're able to. Oh, is it going? All right. I wonder who it's going to. Oh, we lost everybody?
No, this is.
Are we talking too much?
I feel like I'm enjoying it.
All right,
all these guys.
If I was happy, you know,
right. I'm having a really good time just talking about this stuff.
I have an idea about Star Wars 1.
Black Rudy.
Oh, also, we do have the second appearance of Spider-Woman, Marvel 2-in-1, number 30, fine minus for only $20.
There you go.
All right. Next up, we are going to enter into the world of cocaine comics.
Yes.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yes.
All right, so first of all, there are only 4 issues of Cocaine Comics. We are only missing issue 3.
Dr. Roxo.
Dr. Roxo. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. We have issue 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Now, each of these comics at most had 10,000 copies printed. Okay? Number 1 had 3 prints. Number 2 through 4 had 2 prints each, but they're indistinguishable from one another, so no one knows. But first up, we have a 3rd print of Cocaine Comics number 1, a very good copy at $7. And to say that this book is, let's say, it is very positive in regards to drug culture. There's a lot of people having a lot of fun in these books, that's for sure. But I'm not going to sit here and condone the use of drugs.
The folks I see on the L look like they're having a great time.
Rip snorting, that's for sure. So that's Cocaine Comics number 1. And then we get Cocaine Comics number. Just look at these covers, people. I mean, just what insanity is going on here? This is a mid-grade copy of a first print of Cocaine Comics number 1, $12. And issue number 4, once again, a dude who's having a lot of fun, that's for sure. Probably drinking too much Crush soda.
I remember Crush.
I remember Crush too. This is a first print, very good, $8.
Drinking Crush. Sucking down Stackers.
Ugh, dude, you're making my stomach hurt.
Stackers? You don't remember Stackers? It's a weight loss medication. It's basically
Wait, was it that?
It's speed.
Well, yeah, of course.
Amphetamines.
Yeah. Like the infamous Saved by the Bell episode with Jesse on diet pills.
Yep.
I'm losing my mind.
Well into the 2000s, it was still okay.
I thought you meant those things.
No.
Those little sandwich meats with the crackers.
Oh no, those are great.
Stackers.
Those are great.
Yeah.
It was in a little tray.
Oh, Lunchables.
Lunchables.
Lunchables. That's what the brand name is called.
Lunchable Stackers.
Yeah, Lunchable Stackers.
No, Stacker was named the weight loss medication. That's effective.
That's so funny.
Which is liquid speed.
Yeah, of course. Hey, what was the original ingredient in Coca-Cola? Coca. Also referred to as cocaine. All right. Now, let us not forget that there are some very famous artists that weren't always referred to as underground artists. But there was one artist who definitely entered the underground world. Now, his work did not pertain to sex and drugs, but it pertained, let's say, to some esoteric philosophies and thinking. That artist is none other than the weirdest of the weird, Steve Ditko. Yes.
Real quick, we just have a quick question about the Batman Spawn.
Oh, yes, of course. So.
Shut up, Fred.
Oh, Mr. Hey, Fred, how you doing, buddy? Yo, man, we got to get you back out down in Philly, man. We got to hang out. Spawn, Batman, because we missed him. He was down in the city for Fan Expo, but we were all in different places and stuff. He stopped in on a Thursday.
He didn't say hello.
Only to see Henry.
Oh.
He didn't want to see us. He wanted to see his best friend, Henry, to get more good comic recommendations.
Dead, Fred.
So this is a high-grade copy of Spawn Batman, the very first Spawn Batman crossover one-shot, written by Frank Miller, illustrated by Todd McFarlane, high grade, $20. There we go. Cool. Superhero-wise, let's just throw this out there real quick. We also have Tales of Suspense, number 84. This is a VG minus copy, $20. Jack Kirby, Captain America fights Super Adaptoid.
No, it wasn't.
We also, it wasn't Kirby?
No.
Oh, okay. And then we also have a copy of Marvel Tales number 2. Now, this is a VG minus copy. It's well loved. Its biggest fault, it's got a little tear right there in the spine. But this does have the first appearance of the X-Men, first appearance of Doctor Strange, right? Yeah. So again, these reprints as the original, like X-Men #1 and Strange Tales 110, as they become ridiculously expensive, these reprints, early reprints, are starting to also go up in value. This VG minus graded Marvel Tales #2 is $40. All right.
I think it's just about break time.
Okay.
Before you start anything.
Yeah, let's just do a break then.
Go for a break.
Cool. 7:30 break.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner. There's a super new way to support your friends over at The Experience. Head over to YouTube and send us a super chat, a super sticker, or a super thanks. We'll be super grateful for your support. And then keep an eye out as we launch membership services over on YouTube. It'll be a great way to get first look access at new content and shows before anybody else. Keep your eyes peeled and make sure you're following us on YouTube.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic culture and sales.
Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show.
Put it up on the wall. Comic book frames.
Hey,
Hey, everybody.
You want us to hang some books? We don't sell those, but
Yeah, comic book frames. Just
IKEA yours.
I got IKEA.
Mr. Dearman does that. He goes to IKEA.
well, because these are a normal like shape, right? Like what?
No, it wouldn't be.
8x11.
8x10 frame, 8x11.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
you get like a.
they didn't really have any more. They were like 13 by.
Wait, where did this conversation come from?
It's in the chat. Do we have?
Oh.
We don't carry. The shop doesn't carry them. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. We're lucky we carry bags and boards.
This is the IKEA show.
Hold on. We'll also teach you how to build it. No. Well, this show will become an unboxing video show, and then a how to build show, how to hang show. Yeah.
Everything we
Dude, I think we're onto something.
And this is Spawn 349. And this is Spawn 349.
Yes.
And this is Spawn 349. And this is Spawn 349.
Stop it. You're too much. All right, real quick. Let's talk about some a little Steve Ditko Underground real quick. So where's my little notes here? Let me just make sure. All right. So Steve Ditko in the early 70s, when he was like, F you, Marvel, I'm out. I'm going to do my own thing. He created something that is referred to as the Ditko's Hero series. And one of the titles that was part of that series was referred to as what? I don't know. It's got 2 exclamation points and a question mark. And also a couple of ellipses. And like, Steve Ditko, man, you were a wonderful, beautiful, crazy genius, even if I don't always agree with some of your philosophical takes. You were a little bit too into Ayn Rand for my taste, but that's neither here nor there.
It's not what if. It's not what. It's what?
This is from 1975. This is number 3. This is a fine minus copy at $8. And this is the first appearance of the Ditko characters, The Void and The Revenge. God, that is so Ditko. I have a great character name. The Question, The Void, The Revenge, The Oblivion, The End. Ditko, man. You need to take more walks. Get a dog, buddy. Get a cat. Like, you just leave your house more, man. Anyway, this book also includes stories for other Ditko characters, Mr. A and The Masquerade. So if there's any, like, Steve Ditko fans out there and you're looking for some of the... Now, when I say this is quintessential Ditko, no editorial approval, no Stan Lee. This is... Oh, someone take it? Is it Gary? Yeah, Gary, I knew it! The moment I saw that book, I was like, this is a Gary book. Gary's going to love this book. Like, oh, that made my day, man. You made my night, Gary. All right, awesome. Gary? What? Yeah, what? What? All right. So next up, let's talk about Arcade, the comics review. All right, let me get my notes here. Because this one is actually, this is like a who's who. This is like a jam piece. This was a big magazine where anybody who was anybody in the underground comic book field, you participated in issues of Arcade, the comics review. And again, this was another series. Now, our copies are all around VG, okay? So the prices are indicative of that. But when I was looking up this Arcade, the comics review, all high grades, $50, $60, $80. I was like, holy shit, holy schmoes. But these are really fun. I read a couple. I'm not going to deny it. I was doing a lot of research for this, so I felt I could sit there for 10 minutes and read some of this stuff, and it is a blast. Is everything right? Jason, you okay?
I tie my shoes.
Oh.
I relax. I gotta tie my shoes once in a while. I stuff on my shoelaces.
Oh. Jason just started making really weird, like, your body language is strange, my friend.
I bent over.
All right, so Arcade, the comics review, was a magazine-sized anthology series created and edited by Art Spiegelman of Mouse fame and Bill Griffith of Zippy the Pinhead fame, published by Berkeley's Print Mint. Yep, the University of Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley had its own publication, company, which pretty much exclusively printed underground comics. So here we go. Issue number 2. Here, let's take a look at that one. All right, so in this issue, we have work by Robert Crumb, Gilbert Shelton, Kim Deitch, Bill Griffith, Jay Lynch, Paul Krasner, Spain Rodriguez, and Michael McMillan. Now, this is a fine minus copy at $10. And then we get issue number 3, another Robert Crumb cover. In this one, we get, now this is fun, okay. You get a Charles Bukowski story illustrated by Gilbert Shelton. You also get an H.P. Lovecraft bio illustrated, I believe, by either Kim Deitch or Jay Lynch, I'm not sure. But then you also, so you have work by Robert Crumb, Gilbert Shelton, Bill Griffith, Art Spiegelman. So Art Spiegelman pops up in this book, Kim Deitch, and Jay Lynch. But again, you get a Charles Bukowski story illustrated and an H.P. Lovecraft bio. This is a VG copy at $8.
What did I do to you? What did I do to you?
I don't want to stop the Arcade trade.
Sure. What?
Mr. Chamberlain's interested in the condition of the cherry pop.
Oh, of course, yes. Okay, so Mr. Chamberlain, let's first throw this out there. Let me get my notes. Regrettably, number 1 is not a first print, okay? But here we go. We get a 5th print. Now, the 5th print was from Kitchen Sink. So technically speaking, this is the very first printing that Kitchen Sink Press did in 1993 of Cherry Pop Tart number 1. And the way to know that it is not a first print is it misses 2 stories, The Wholesome Twins and Vampirotica. This is a very fine copy at $8. And then we get issue number 2. That is also a 5th print from 1993. That is a fine mid-grade copy at $4. And then we get issue number 3, where they have officially dropped the Pop Tart. There you go, number 3. This is from 1986. This is actually a 2nd print published by Last Gas Publication. This is a very fine copy at $7. And the last one that we have, because the really infamous one is gone, this is issue number 8. This is from 1994. This is a 5th print, but it is the first time the Kitchen Sink Press printed it. This is a very fine minus at $5. And this is the Great Wizard of Oz cyberpunk parody? I don't know. All right, so there we go. All right, let us know if any of that interests you. Okay, so let us move on to the rest of our arcade. Yes.
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so next up, and this is an awesome cover by Robert Crumb. This is issue number 4. Now, this one has a William S. Burroughs story illustrated by S. Clay Wilson. And then you get work by Robert Crumb, Art Spiegelman, Bill Griffith, and Robert Williams. Issue number 4 here is a very good copy at $8. Now, the very good condition is primarily just because they're well read and they're old. I mean, they're complete, all that kind of stuff. It's just, they're beat up. Next up, we get the Arcade, the Comics Review, number 5. In this book, we get work from George DiCaprio, the father of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Actually is.
Yeah, I know.
They really? The laugh was like.
Robert Crumb, Jay Lynch, Art Spiegelman, and Bill Griffith.
Who does that cover?
Oh, that's Jay Lynch. Yeah, the same guy. He did that back cover of Funny Animals.
I thought it was that.
Nah. That's Jay Lynch. So there you go. That is issue number 5. That is a VG minus at $7.
Crazy. I can't remember what it was now.
What?
I saw pictures of Sergio Aragonés like years ago, and he's like a muscle man.
Yeah, he's buff.
Yeah, he was like super buff.
Yeah, he's huge.
I'd never seen pictures. I would see him like really just like in Mad Magazine.
Right, yeah. Where he always drew him like, he had a weird shape.
He had like the weird little body.
Yeah, the way he would ever draw himself. All right, next up, we have Arcade, the Comics Review, number 6.
Maybe that's how
Again, another beautiful Robert Crumb cover. So this issue has work by, again, this is a who's who, Robert Crumb, Art Spiegelman, Bill Griffith, and Kim Deitch. Just so we're clear, Kim Deitch is a man, not a woman. Some people were like, hey man, Kim Deitch is the first female underground artist. I was like, Kim Deitch was a dude. All right. I mean, stop it, people. And last, we have Arcade, the Comics Review, number 7. This has work from M.K. Brown, Robert Crumb, Bill Griffith, and Robert Crumb's wife, Eileen Kominsky. There you go. Feature-length story. Miles Mycroft, the psychic detective. All right. Oh, you get an Edgar Allan Poe story. Purgatory on $5 a day. Dada's. Oh, this is a fun one. Dada's Papa meets Mr. the Toad. Oh, and also you get a expose on Disney World in this issue. Ooh. I don't think Disney was very beloved by the underground comic artists for a lot of reasons.
Beloved in the 80s.
Now, this is a VG minus copy at $7.
You don't have any. There's no more Spirit magazines. I'm sorry.
Nah, there's just that one.
And the Phillies lost.
Ah, dang it. All right, it happens.
And it's time for our last break.
Oh, it's a break time? All right, break time.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time. Get the inside scoop on everything happening at the experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox.
Exercises.
It's
It's like little kegels. Yeah. He's little. Do you do little step things where you like kick it out a little bit like this? Oh, hey everybody, we're back. Okay.
Exercise back here.
There's a running man.
Mr. Barucci, we do have some of the Will Eisner Spirit, the Kitchen Sink magazine. If you're interested in those, you can email me and I'll let you know what we have this week.
Cool. All right, so we're gonna wrap everything up. At the end, we're going to find out who wins our Land of the Living Gods #1 Aftershock Ambassador exclusive. So just letting everyone know. We got about like 10-ish minutes left. So what we're gonna do now again, so next week we're gonna have more underground comics. We'll also, we'll mix in like we do, like some superheroes and some Marvels and DCs and stuff like that. But for right now, we got our hands on some fun books, and we want to show them off and all that kind of stuff.
Books, you really don't see many of them.
No, we rarely see. And in fact, most of these books we either have never had since I've been working here, or we haven't had them in years.
Even if you go to conventions, these are not books you see often.
I think the only. I haven't looked through all the boxes yet, but for sure the stuff you've had up here, Cherry Pop Tart, that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else,
I've never seen
one.
Yeah.
A lot of those either.
Cherry Pop.
I'm surprised you don't have Heidi Loves the Swastika. That's the only book that's an underground book that everybody has.
Actually, we know somebody.
We had that,
and then he pulled it. He got
he pulled the trigger on pulling the trigger.
Yeah. He suddenly decided he didn't want to let it go.
He got cold feet.
Yeah. He got cold feet. I don't blame him.
Because if you made him an offer, man,
because that was early in the show. You remember how we were like, how do we
sell this?
Yeah, because we were debating like,
that's very.
Are we complicit by selling it? Like,
no, that was about a year ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Just about a year ago.
Before you met me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because there was a joke about it.
I just remember all the timing.
Yes, yeah. I do remember that now.
Started doing consignments.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so we're gonna finish off with back in the 70s. Robert Crumb had a series of books called Zap Comics. Now it wasn't just Crumb, but Crumb was the one who really made it famous. And in fact, Zap Comics is considered to be when most people talk about underground comics and stuff like that. Zap Comics is almost always the one that people reference. And in fact, it kind of sucks. I didn't realize. I now realize which books the dude got before we closed before the show. He got those early Zaps because Zap Comics #0 is a very famous image, It's the one of this dude, this naked dude, sort of being like electrocuted. I'll post it on Instagram. I definitely took a photo of it. And then I think he also took issue number 1 as actually I think he took. We had issue 0. Yeah, so I think it was 0, 1, and like either 2 or 3.
What?
Yeah, because when I pulled out the Zap comics, I was like, wait a minute, where's 0 and 1? And now, admittedly, they were not first prints. Zap Comics number 0, first print, is a very valuable book. I think the one we had was maybe a 3rd or 4th print, or maybe not even, maybe 5th print.
I mean, they were all like
$6. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and they were what most of these their conditions are, which is like fine minus, very good, what have you. But these are the Zap comics that we do have here. So first up is Zap Comics number 5. This is the 1990s reprint. I could not find out how many reprints actually occurred with these books. But in the early 90s, I believe around 1991, they started to reprint. Apex Novelties and Last Gasp Productions began to reprint the Zap comics. And so this one is from that 1990s reprint. This is a fine minus at $4. And then we have issue number 6. That is, this is part of the 1988 reprint. Yeah, like my head was spinning trying to do all this. Like, oh God, man, and they do not make it easy on you. They just, so obtuse. This is a mid-grade copy at $6. Now, this is actually a famous Zap cover. I wonder if any of you will recognize it. I definitely did when I saw it. I was like, whoa, hey, I know that. This is also part of the 1988 reprint series. This is a mid-grade copy at $6. And then, now this cover I love. This is a Robert Crumb cover from 1974. But this is the part of the 1988 reprint. Let's take another look at that cover. I don't know why. I just think that cover is so clever. Deep psychological insights and mystic revelation. That's for sure. Also, there is a very thick woman in a picture frame. So, of course, this is a Robert Crumb book. So this is also a mid-grade copy at $6.
What have we learned today?
Robert Crumb was a freak. Now we have 2 copies of Zap number 9. We have the 1988 reprint. That is a fine minus at $5. And then we have the 1990s reprint. Now this one is in better condition. It's very fine, which is why it is also $5. And then we get ourselves. This is another one we have we have 2 copies of. This is Zap number 10. This is the 1988 reprint. This is a fine mid-grade copy at $6. And then we get the 1990s reprint, better condition, very fine, $5. Now, another one we have 2 copies of, and this is a fun little cover. Let's look at that. That's cute. Wait, I'm sorry. There we go. All right. This is Zap Comics number 11. Now, this one is an actual first print, but it's so late in the series that even at a very fine, it's like $6. Yeah, because this was when I think they reached the point where they were now publishing in the 80s. And so while they were still publishing some of the later books, that's when they would do the reprints of the earlier books. That was sort of how this would work out. So this is from 1988. So this is a very fine copy at $6. And then we have the 3rd print of this issue that came out in the early 90s, also a very fine, but only $5. And then the last 3 Zap comics that we have. This is a 3rd print of number 12, also another cover that I really get a kick out of. I don't know why, just the colors and I don't know, just a lot of fun. So it says Zap. 13. I'm sorry, not 12. 13. You can see it in the clouds, or not the clouds, the water foam, the sea foam. This is a very fine copy at $5. And then we get Zap number No, this one is 12. Okay, so I got them out of order. My apology. This is a first print. This is a mid-grade copy at $5. I wish the Punisher looked like that. Actually, doesn't that look like a Rob Liefeld character with all like the knives and the pouches and a lot of knives, a lot of knives. Now this is a wraparound cover. So this torso-less, but definitely has a torso. It continues onto the back cover. This is a wild cover, and I can't show you the back cover because there's a lot of very inappropriate things going on.
This one's for adult intellectuals.
Oh, nice. All right. Those are definitely mutually exclusive terms. Yeah. This is Zap number 14. This is a third print, came out in the early 90s. It's a very fine copy at $5. All right. Zap. So what do we have for time? So it's about 5 minutes to 8. So it is officially time to find out who is going to win our Aftershock Ambassador exclusive.
It's like watching the Derby.
I know. Gary! Oh, what just happened?
Gary got robbed.
Hey, Gary, did you just get robbed?
It's the Benjamin.
Right.
All right.
What are you jerk, Scott?
Mr. Benjamin, you're winning.
It was Barucci that it landed on.
Okay.
So I redrew because he can't win.
Oh yeah, no, he can't win. He's out of the running. Yeah. In fact, maybe we should give away some metal variants one day.
If I don't get prices for him, we're gonna have to.
I know, he could really win those. Anyway, so it was Mr. Benjamin, right? Kyle, was Elvis? All right, you're gonna win our Land of the Living Gods Aftershock Ambassador exclusive number 1. All right, there you go, Mr. Benjamin.
This is why I've got experience.
I've got
experience for you.
You got experience, that's right.
Gary, if you want one, I have one. I'll send to these guys to give to you.
No.
You can't read the drawing and then try and give prize to everybody.
We'll make up for it.
You don't want the book back.
Yeah. We'll make sure he gets more Youngblood trading cards. All right. Well, with that said, I guess we've officially come to the end of the show, and we greatly appreciate everyone who's hung out with us, everyone who patiently just sat and watched me babble on and on and on about underground comics, and hopefully you enjoyed it because we're gonna have more in the next couple episodes of the show. Again, we'll try to mix in with different stuff and everything, but again, we didn't even get to the collected purple pictography of Vaughn Bodie and Bernie Wrightson doing smutty art. Yeah,
it's probably not gonna make it next week.
But it's also time to go yell at the Sixers playing basketball and
Yeah.
the coaches and the refs.
Well, yeah, so we really have to wrap up the show as soon as possible because we need to get home and watch the Sixers hopefully win. So with that said, we will be back next week. If you want to catch us on our local show, check out facebook.com/FatJacksComicCrypt. We start at 4:30. We go to about 5:45-ish. And then we roll over onto the experience from 6 to 8. And we do it all in a nice little sort of 4-hour-ish block.
And if you get something new this week, you'll be on the Instagram where?
At the FJC Paradox. Always appreciate the support. Gained a bunch more followers over the past few days. Cool. Thank you very much. So I guess with that said, Jason, do you want to say goodbye?
Nope.
All right, Al. All right.
You're all dead to me.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.